Hi, TC family. Welcome to season 6 of the Education Concierge Podcast. It's me, Benita G. You already know that. And I have an amazing guest, so you know. We love to do the whole full spectrum of education. And those of you who've been following me on Instagram, LinkedIn, and YouTube, you know how important arts education is to me. You know, I dance and I still dance. My poor students, they have to endure it. I'm going to go dance anytime I can get an opportunity. My sister just told me to try for this new ballet studio that opened because they're doing adult classes. I'm like, yes. But we know that we have a arts education is important. And then if we combine that with STEM, STEAM, ELA, math, PE, when you combine the arts with everything, it enhances the learning of the students, but it also gives teachers, look, we love it. We get an opportunity to see our kids laugh and joke and just be children in an environment that's fit for them. I have an amazing guest on today. Y'all know how important it is for me to pronounce names correctly. So I'm going to try it. And then she's going to come behind me and correct it. All right, so we're going to try it. Y'all pray for me. Okay. Yamilee Toussaint.
Yes, and close. There's an accent mark. So it's Yamilée Toussaint.
Yamilee Toussaint. Okay, now, Yamilee, welcome to the Education Concierge Podcast. I am a good old country girl. And in the South, when you come to the house, the first time we fix your plate and we give you the sweet tea, because nobody makes a sweet tea. Who does that? But after you get on the podcast and you've engaged with us 2 or 3 more times, you are family. So today we're going to skip all of that and tell you you are family. So welcome to the family. Please introduce yourself and tell us, what do you do to disrupt education and get rid of the foolishness?
Benita, thank you so much for having me and bringing me into the fam. I started an organization called STEM from Dance, and we're disrupting education by using dance to get girls of color interested in STEM. When I grew up, just like you, I loved to dance. Dance was such a big part of how I expressed myself, how I stepped into my confidence, how I saw my value and my worth, and just how I had fun. And when I, fast forward when I became a teacher and saw how much my math classroom would be devoid of joy and connection. I just saw an opportunity to change that. I find math to be actually pretty interesting and fun and challenging, and I wanted that for my students as well. But I knew we had to do something different so that I no longer would hear, "Miss, I'm not a math person," and that's what I wanted to disrupt. And I would understand why my students would feel that way when you don't have great experiences in math, when you don't experience, a feeling of success, but yet instead of failure, and it starts to feel like just this exam to pass so that you can go on with in life. Those feelings start to come up. So I get it.
So you got it. You were sitting there as a math teacher. What grade was this?
I taught 9th grade algebra.
Oh my goodness. So I'm a middle school person. So those are my babies that I just sent to you who are babies in high school. 9th grade algebra. Now algebra I was okay with because my teacher taught me how to read it like a sentence. My ELA mind was yes. But when we got into geometry and trigonometry, no, I don't understand. And I'll never forget the teacher put the triangle on the board and then she put the box thing and was like, prove that it's a triangle. You just drew it. Like, this is me. I'm getting kicked out of class. I'm in the principal's office. Since kindergarten, since pre-K. Y'all told it. My mama told me that was a triangle. What exactly do you want me to prove? So you saw a need, and that's why we have people to come on the show. You saw a need, and you were like, how can I take, well, what did you do? How did you merge? What was the process and what was the thinking? And then how did you come to where you are now? Because where you are now is amazing.
Mm-hmm. It was a big question for me. This observation that young people just are not inspired to learn math. And as I was sitting with that challenge, at the same time, I was also almost on my own journey of figuring out what impact I want to make in the world. And I know that this challenge was kind of like in my mind, and I also was figuring out like what should my role in this be. And it started to crystallize for me when I started to, think about the combination of my experiences. So not only had I been a teacher, I have been a dancer my whole life, and I went to MIT and I studied engineering. So I also have this engineering background as well. And these things were just feeling so disparate, so like almost random. I didn't know which path I wanted to go down. And I just had this moment when I realized, you know what if the combination of these things is the role that I can play? Maybe I'm uniquely positioned because I have these different experiences. What if there's some way that dance can be used to address this challenge that, the way that I feel when I dance, which is joyful and connected and expressive? What if that's how young people describe what it's like to learn STEM, and girls in particular, knowing that only 5% of the STEM workforce consists of girls are women of color, just 5%. And so I didn't know how dance and STEM were gonna come together. I just knew that if somebody was gonna figure it out, it could be me. And I just started to try out different ways of combining them, and it really took years to land on what STEM from Dance currently does, which is using dance performance to incorporate technology into it. So imagine, costumes that light up, that girls get to create and build and program and integrate with choreography, so they have this really dynamic performance. Or a performance that has animations on the stage, where the animations almost interact with the movement and the choreography. There's so many ways that technology can play a role in dance, and we can make our girls not just have this technology not just be something that they enjoy, but that they can create. And that's when we hit a stride and really started to see these worlds come together in a way that was inspiring girls to start to see what's possible for them in STEM, and no longer say, I'm not a math person, but I can be, I can do this. And that's the transformation that, I created STEM from Dance to see.
I love this because one, I'm researching and I was reading up on you, and I still was in this little box. So thank you for breaking me out of this box. Because my little box is like, dance and math do go together. You have to understand position and counting and all of the things. But you started talking, and I was like, girl, we forgot about all that incorporates a dance production, everything that happens in choreography and lighting. And then when you said light up outfits, I was just thinking about tutus back in the day, and they could light up. Because my poor mama was struggling trying to sew it because I was so tiny. Taking out like all of this material. But then if she knew or got another young lady to go in and put some lights on it, like, you just literally just blew me out of the box. So thank you for getting me out of my small thinking about how STEM and dance come together. Okay, so now you are currently in Northeast America, but we know STEM is international. So tell us what's next for your company, or how are you going to help people, old people like me, break outside the box? And then how are you encouraging? Because what did you say, 5% or 7%?
5%.
So how are you encouraging, and because we know it's going to take a minute because you're working with young ladies, so we know we have to get them go through the process, get degrees, formulate companies, go into organizations. But how are you seeing the change and the adjustment as we get ready? We talk about it today as we get ready to deal with Generation Alpha.
Mm. Well, what we started to do was make these performances and have that be the signature experience of Step from Dance. What we have done now over the years is build out like a continuum of experiences. So when the girls come to us, they get to start with just like a light touch program, like a 1-day event, a club in their school, and that leads them to something more immersive, like our summer program called Girls Rise Up. And then once, basically what we found is there's more support that's needed to help them go from coming to that summer experience, going to that club. We want to help them really navigate their journey into the STEM field. So we also have programming where we're helping them get connected, figure out how to apply to STEM programs, and just how to, have people to advise and support them. Right. So that is like the more comprehensive experience that we've built around that performance that they are able to create. And what we recognized is that, like you said, like the impact we've been able to have in New York City where we started doesn't have to be unique to New York. There are girls across the country and across the world who need dance as that spark and as that entry into STEM. And we want to make that possible. So we have announced our plans to expand nationally, eventually internationally. And how we do that is we partner with institutions like colleges, universities, companies, educators, K-12 schools, and we teach them our approach to how we bring dance and STEM together, and we just help them to implement that program locally in their community. And it's just been amazing to be able to go to Houston, go to Memphis, go to Tampa, go to Syracuse, and see this experience that I just described, see it happen in these different cities. And again, it's just amazing that because of this experience, we're going to have girls be our future engineers and designers and innovators. So I'm really excited about what's possible with our expansion.
I love that. And I love that. Shout out Memphis. I was in Memphis for 2 years, and I think it's like my second home. I love it. People are like, did you? I really did love Memphis. And I'm glad you said that, because there are some times that we have cities, or we have areas that students don't have access. I'm from rural Virginia. So a program like your program, coming into the public schools, STEM for Dance, coming in, and even if we have we always would do like a tri-county, or even if the community college would hold something, that exposure like you're doing in a way that everyone can touch. Everyone can touch that. Do you see that where it's like, I can succeed, I can support, I can fail, I can ask these questions? And how important is that?
Mm-hmm. I think it's extremely powerful to bring our girls together and give them a space where they can be free to explore this area that has been daunting for them, for most of them, right? What we see happen is girls tend to be, well, first I'll say there's a study that showed that it's as young as 8 years old that many girls start to lose confidence in math. And when we're able to isolate them, we can start to work on the mindsets that have formed, that have told them, that have messaged to them that they can't do math well, right? We're able to counter that. So when they're with us, we're doing things like affirmations. We're reminding them that they are great, that they are capable, right? And there's something really powerful about just having that space to almost like build yourself up before you go into the world. Just having a space where you're encouraged, where you're championed, where you could fail and you're not made fun of, right? You could raise your hand and say the wrong answer, and it's okay. Right? You don't have sometimes the pressure that comes with being around boys who tend to be more confident in math. That's what our girls need. And I know, and I'm speaking from my own experience, when I was at MIT, a space that was very supportive for me was the Black Women's Alliance, right?
Mm-hmm.
Get together, after a day of classes and being one or one of two Black women in the room where we can come together and just be comfortable, just be able to do things that we enjoy and just have a space where we relax and just can be built up. And that was really critical in my experience studying engineering. So I can speak to it individually and from what I've observed. And I always get the question, like, what about the boys? I think it's so important that all students are encouraged in their pursuit of STEM. And for me, what I have felt called to is to help our girls who are, again, like they represent the smallest population in STEM. And that's what I personally feel called to make an effect on.
Thank you for that. And I love how you were like, not only did I see it, but even I was engaged in that. I needed a space. So therefore, in return, I feel led to find a space and develop that space. That one layer that you're working on to dismantle will then build up in STEM education through dance. So my question to you would be, what would be advice you would give? And you can decide whether it's towards a parent or a guardian or I call them the adults, or if it's towards the education administrator or someone who's opening a school. What would be the driving 3 things that you would say to them to keep arts in the school, to bring arts into the school, to change their mind? Because those of us in public school and charter schools, when the budget comes down, art teacher's gone. The music, I've been in a school where the art teacher and the music teacher were gone the next week. And I was like, where'd they go? Like, did they quit? They were like, no, we had to dissolve their position. And the ELA teacher, I'm screaming like, no, because they needed that outlet. They needed that, how to bring everything together. Like if I'm teaching Shakespeare, they needed to understand this type of music, or she's playing opera in class, and the kids, and even the dance teachers incorporating literature in class. So what would be 3 takeaways you could give to educators that are listening or parents that are listening on how important STEM from dance is in their children's lives?
I want to reiterate the data point I shared, which is that it's at 8 years old that most girls lose confidence in math. What we are up against is a confidence gap. And without addressing that, we're not going to see a change in how our young people are viewing their potential in math and STEM subjects. We have to address the confidence, and we know that the arts is a proven way to develop a young person's sense of self and confidence. And when we remove the arts, we miss out on an opportunity to address the root. We're not solving this by using a new shiny math curriculum. We have to make sure that our young people believe that they can do it. And, I've just seen so much success come from, and like not just success, but I've seen the way that girls have been able to see themselves differently through the lens of dance. I've seen girls who enter into a room where programming, like computer programming, is taking place, because dance is also in that room too, right? It does unlock, and even to like even be even more specific, I think about one of our students. She came to us just because of dance. She was a dancer. She was looking to do something over the summer. So she came to our summer program. And it was being exposed to our presentation of STEM that she started to think, wow, maybe I do like this. And she came another summer. And she came a third summer. And this is during her high school years. And we started to, I met her and we started to speak, and I started to recommend some things for her to consider because she was starting to like the STEM aspect of the program more and more. And I'm proud to say, like right now in this moment, she's a sophomore at Georgia Tech studying computer engineering. And again, like I can't emphasize enough, it started with her interest in dance, and that allowed us to just start to cultivate this interest in this field that previously was intimidating to her and unclear and obscure. And we made it something that felt relevant to who she is and what she's interested in. And I'm convinced that she's going to create something that's going to impact the world, right? And we need a young Black woman in the seat of designing and creating technology, because we see the implications that it has on society. And if it takes using dance to get to that outcome, then don't cut the dance program. Don't remove these opportunities. You bring in things like STEM from dance to really see that transformation take place.
Oh my gosh, thank you. So I'm gonna shout out the dance instructor I just finished teaching with in Memphis, Miss Lewis. Hey girl. Because she would, I would walk into her class and just stand by the door. Like it would, like if I was having a rough day, I would just walk in and stand by the door. And she might be teaching about the history of dance. She might be teaching about the Alvin Ailey's and the Martha Grahams of dance. Or she might be teaching how dance has evolved. So what is hip hop? What is ballet? One time she was even talking about how sports and dance go hand in hand, how these big football players were taking ballet so they can learn how to drag their feet on the line to catch the ball. And so I love how you said dance pulled this young lady and several other young ladies in, but then you expose them to the power that it possessed, because it's not like me, one dimensional. It was all the things. So I'm going to go right into the next part. So this is something we added for season 6 because I can. And we call it, because I can, we call it Controversial Corner. And so what I do is I pull something out of the news media about education, and it's something we've been talking about. My question to you is, have you and your company been in fear or thought about I'm going to call it what it is, the attack on businesses from a different angle that are here to help promote and support women of color in all aspects? Have you thought about that? Or you're like, but don't think about that. They over there. We're going to keep on chugging.
No, that resonates a ton. Recently I read this article that said that out of all philanthropic dollars that are given to organizations, only 2% go to organizations that support girls and women. And it's 0.02% that support girls and women of color. Right. When I think about the work that STEM from Dance is doing, this year we have a $3 million need That's what I am fundraising for this year. Eventually, we know that in order to reach, we have a goal to reach 10 million, to reach 1 million girls. And we know that it will take $10 million annually to be able to do that. So we need investment, but yet the vast majority of investment is not going to organizations that do work supporting girls and women of color. And so when there are funders who step up to the plate and say, these are the causes that we want to support, that is what allows us to do the work and do the transformation that I spoke about. And I know what you mentioned was for more like for-profit businesses, but when we understand the reality of how underfunded organizations are that are led by people of color, that serve people of color, there's got to be people who step up to the plate to make an attempt to level that playing field. And so it's, I think I commend what the Fearless Fund does, because if they don't do it, who else will?
Right.
And I'm sure that critic is not. So so that's what I like to help people to understand, is just how difficult it is to get funding. I've been I founded Stem from Dance 11 years ago, and there's things that we can do now, ways that we can serve our girls now that we couldn't when we had, a fourth of what we are able to raise now. So that's what I'd say to that piece. For the
Thank
controversy.
you.
Yes.
Controversial corner. And so everyone, TEC family, you have heard the call for action. And that wasn't planned. That was just in our discussion, but she threw it out there. $10 million. So we need 1 million this year, $10 million in the next 2 years. So we need y'all to go ahead. Her information will be in the show notes. And when the podcast goes live, so $25 here, $2,500 here, $250. Look, if you want to go ahead and sponsor the whole year, praise God. We're gonna take it. We're gonna take that. The sponsor, if you want to put it in the trust fund, if you want to put it in the wheel, we're taking all of these things because we're getting all our lives together, okay? And we want to support because we want to. And I love how you said it's not just getting them in the program; it's helping them matriculate through. We can get them engaged. That's cute, but we need to get them in MIT. We need to get them into Howard. We need to get them into FAM. We need to get them into Yale and Columbia. And so these women can come through and then they can change my life, our lives for the better. Oh my goodness. So we get ready to wrap up there. 2 more questions. Thank you so much. I know you're busy and I appreciate you taking out time out of your busy schedule. Here are the last 2 questions. I am a concierge because my friends say, girl, we call you about anything dealing with education, you come through. And we deal with anything and all things dealing with education. So I started a podcast so I could showcase other people who are dealing with and all things dealing with education and disrupting the foolishness. So a concierge, we all know back in the day, and they still have great concierge now. I was at a hotel here. He was amazing. Well, you check into the hotel with your friends, your significant other, your partner, your spouse, and you say, you know what? We would like tickets to this Broadway show, or we want to go to this Michelin star restaurant, and I want a chef's table. We have the money. Like money is no object here. Where would you decide to go, and what would you decide to do, and then tell us why?
I would take the opportunity to go somewhere I've never been before. And there's just so many places to choose from. So I would try to do some kind of tour where I can see multiple cities. Maybe it's like a Euro tour. It's like not just the major cities, but like the places that are sort of like off the beaten path. I think that would be amazing, with like fantastic accommodations, easy way to travel between cities, good food, good company. Yeah, that would be amazing. Can this not be hypothetical?
No, it can be whatever you want it to be.
Yeah, that would be amazing.
So, and I always do this after every guest says it. Anyone out there that knows of this tour, or any travel agent out there that's ready to put this tour together, contact me so we can get it started and get the fundraising, because we need to pay people. We don't have no money. Okay. Um, and I always ask this of my guests because it gives us, the TEC family, a little bit more understanding of who you are, so we can get to know you better. So we know that you like big cities, but let's do off the beaten path. We want some good food. And yes, I need some luxurious accommodations. I need to backpack it through Europe. Those days are over. I'm done with that. I need 5-star. I would like a driver. He or she can just go with us when we go.
Yes,
I
yes.
appreciate that. I love it. So before we get ready to wrap up, please tell the TEC family how we can get in contact with you, how we can connect with you, and how can we donate. So if your donation page is on your website, let us know all of those things.
Yes, well, our website has a ton of great content. It's stemfromdance.org. I'd emphasize stem from dance.org. I'm pretty active on LinkedIn. You can find me on Instagram, and same with the organization. You could find us on the different social channels. So follow us, and I'd be happy to continue the conversation with anyone. So don't hesitate to reach out.
I love that. And we're getting ready to wrap up. So, TZ family, thank you guys for showing up and showing out. Support, subscribe, and share. I am Bonita G, the Education Concierge. I am from Lawrenceville, Virginia. Okay? Let's not mistake where I'm from. But I grew up in Little Shallow Baptist Church on Otterdam Road in Emporia, Virginia, which was like down the street where my mama was from. And I am the guest pastor. We've already opened the doors of the church, so don't worry about that, Ann, because we're non-denominational in here. We not. You should have got saved already. But you are the guest pastor, and it is your job to close us out however you feel fit, to leave us with some encouragement to keep going, to leave us, if you want to sing, you want to do a poem. I didn't give enough video space for you to do a dance, but if you want to do one and we'll attach it later, that is okay with us also. But please close us out. And thank you so much for coming on the Education Concierge Podcast, Season 6, to talk about STEM from dance, and to talk about the foolishness that you are helping to disrupt, but you're helping to design a new way for young ladies through dance and STEM. Thank you.
Well, thank you for this conversation. I will close us out with us imagining the song Lovely Day. I know that the work we do in education can be difficult, it can be challenging. And, that is something I can relate to, again, having done this for over a decade. But I also think it's important to see the upside and have hope for what is possible, and know that change is happening, and we could all be part of it. So I hope that thinking of the song Lovely Day will remind us that it is a great day, and that there are great things that we're doing, and that we should keep going, keep pushing. So Bonita, thank you again for having me.
Thank you so much. All right, y'all. Have a good one. We'll see you in the next podcast. Bye.